Here we are then, back for another episode of my Aston Martin Road to Glory here today for the Miami Grand Prix, which is in line with the real life calendar this weekend. Before we jump into this though, if you haven't seen the last race guys, Imola, the sprint race weekend, go check it out. Trust me, that's what I'm going to say. Just check it out, it's worth your time. Spoilers ahead. So, if you're going to enjoy this episode, leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, we're going to jump into it and see if we can have a better weekend at Miami compared to the real life Grand Prix, hopefully on Sunday, and get a bit more action. Now, we had ERS issues in the race. We got an extra 160 points on development, and you can see we're going to go ahead and spend those on engine power for the intercooler, which is another major upgrade. Also, we're going to stack that with a minor hydraulics upgrade for weight redistribution on the chassis. So, double upgrade coming soon. We also have the upgrade for the aerodynamics has arrived, and that is for the DRS, which is good. Not a major upgrade, but it had to get done. However, we had a failure on the chassis for the fuel tank positioning. So I tried to repurchase. It's a bit too expensive, so we're going to have to get that in the next episode. Hopefully we'll get that on the car for Spain, which is the next race. And yeah, with that said, we're going to jump into the weekend's action. And we have no rain forecast, which is very, very nice. If we look at the progression chart, we have some progress being made, but the big movers are Williams and Mercedes-Benz, who in one weekend go from the 4th best team to the best team overall. So incredible package brought by the guys at Mercedes to this race, and yeah, they're going to be very, very strong. You can see we have these 3 upgrades pending, of course one of them failing. If we can get them all on, it should bring us up to Alpine's level more or less. So I'm hoping we can get that on and, you know, bring this entire package for the next race in Spain, and that would also mark a pretty big improvement heading into the midway part of the season as we go back to Europe and look to try and hopefully have, you know, some decent races. And with that said, first off, practice, and this went off without a hitch. I'm trying to use a different setup because the setup I have for this track is very old, and I feel like I struggle a bit in terms of I'm very weak in sector 1 and sector 3. I'm only good in that kind of end of sector 2 bit, which is very tight and twisty. So there's such a big offset that I wanted to try and see if I could do something about it. So I'm actually running a modified Silverstone setup for this race to see if that makes a difference. I'm running a little bit more wing, which I'm hoping might give us a bit more of an edge, but we'll see what happens when it actually, you know, comes down to it in qualifying. So yeah, practice went well. We got a decent amount of points, and everything is going smoothly so far this weekend. Overcast conditions, but no rain planned for this qualifying session, so we're going to jump into it and see if we can have a decent session, because qualifying in Imola last race showed some real progress. We got P16, got very close to getting Q2, so I feel like we're getting close. We're knocking on the door of eventually making it to Q2 in this series. So yeah, getting our first qualifying lap underway, and we're going to see if we can have a decent banker which could move us into Q2 straight away. Bit of a moment though through turn 2 and also turn 3, struggling with the balance there a little bit, and the tyres not fully up to temperature. Heading now through the S's, getting all over these curbs here, bottoming out, and we do a bit too much. As through the last one we go for a spin and we almost get collected there by Leclerc, and we also compromise Stroll's lap a little bit, but yeah, just taking a bit too much curb through those ones, and we bottomed out, which wasn't ideal. I then basically cruised the rest of the lap and then went for a second push lap, and we'll see what this first banker lap gives us as we make our way out the final corner, just about avoiding the wall, and now waiting for the DRS as we run up to the line. And it's going to be a 1 minute 27.8. We go P18, and that's ahead of Sainz and Stroll. Now we know those two haven't really set the most realistic of times, and we're actually 3/10 off Zhou, which is the next car up the road. So yeah, not ideal. We got some underfloor damage as well because of that incident, so we're up against it here. With 40 seconds to go, we've got time for one single lap, so let's give it a shot. It looks like we're going to get knocked out again, but you never know, we could surprise and drop a decent lap. So let's get into it. Starting off the lap then, down to turn 1, braking at the curb, down to 4th, possibly 3rd gear, depends on your preference. Short shift through here to keep the car nice and stable as we make our way through turn 3. At this point we're matching. Now into the S section, this is where of course we spun last time. Avoiding the inside curb through there, and also taking way less through the right. Could have definitely attacked the left a bit more the first one, but we've found a load of time. However, the apex has not been hit at all through the final apex there. However, we're still up by a decent bit, to be fair. It's not a bad start to the lap. DRS open as the checkered flag drops, And this is where now we're really strong, this section here, which is this kind of slow mechanical grip section, as Lewis sets a fastest lap overall. Really throwing the car through here and just getting really aggressive with the barriers and basically leaving no time on the table, as we also look to bunny hop over the chicane here, just really being aggressive. Didn't cut the first apex, the left enough, so I was a bit compromised through the right, but we go purple and we're 3/10 up on Albon, and we're currently on for a personal best. So this could be getting us in the mix here. Let's see how the final corner goes though. We're going to spot the 100-meter ball on the right as the reference. Down to third gear and make sure to try and get the power down as soon as possible. It's very tough in terms of a traction zone here to get the rear end to work. But up to the line we go, and it's going to be a 7/10 improvement. And does it get us into Q2? No, it does not. And we're not even close. 4/10 away from Albon. And to be fair, I'm losing a lot in that final sector, which is annoying because it's only one corner and it's just that traction zone. I can't get the traction down the way that AI do because, of course, they have, you know, traction control. We don't. So there's that always that kind of offset. And we lose about half a second in the last sector alone, which is really annoying. Anyway, as for the lap itself, I thought it was a really good lap, to be fair. I think there's only one mistake, which was, I want to say turn 8, the last of the kind of swooping corners before the back straight, that we just didn't hit the apex whatsoever. I reckon I could have shaved off maybe a couple of tenths, but I don't think anything better than Bottas would have been possible today. So yeah, still not quite there. We do out-qualify Stroll by a couple of tenths, so again, highlighting our improvement over our teammate, but pace-wise, we're still lacking a bit. Who knows? Maybe if the upgrade hadn't failed, we may have had a better chance this weekend to compete for Q2. But guys, qualifying done. Let's move to the main event and let's see if we can try and fight back, because by looking at this, it seems we're a bit off the pace, but Imola proved otherwise.
Formula One has arrived in the Sunshine State for spectacular sunsets, gentle breezes, warm waters, and for what will be a fantastic race day here at the Miami International Autodrome. With great opportunities for wheel-to-wheel battles featuring 19 corners, 3.36 miles long, and expected average speeds of 138 miles per hour, the Miami International Autodrome will be sure to create lots of chances to overtake. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Leclerc, Carlos Sainz and Perez, Ricciardo, Ocon, Russell and Mick Schumacher, Gasly, Tsunoda, Alex Albon and Latifi, Bottas, Vettel, Martinez and Guan Yu Zhou. Magnussen, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Anthony Davidson, a lot of talented drivers out on the track today, but what will stand out for you?
My focus is 100% on the front of the grid. Like you said, we're seeing a lot of strong competition across those positions, so it would be super interesting to see the fight for that front spot. Personally speaking, I'm hoping for plenty of overtakes.
I'm not going to lie, this could be a tough race. P17, we are pretty quick compared to our teammate, but we seem to be a long way off the upper end of the midfield. So I don't know if this is going to be a classic. I think we could score a point if everything works out, but it's going to be a tough one. So strategy is going to be a medium to hard tyre strap, pretty straightforward, one stop, no big surprises, overcast conditions for the start, and then eventually we'll get a bit more sunshine come through. Fuel-wise, 0.5 extra, pretty standard again, and also tyre pressures +2, +4. The key thing here, I think, is going to be making sure we make some progress on the first couple laps and then hopefully stay in DRS range. I just hope that we're strong enough in Sector 1 and Sector 3, because we're very strong in the kind of chicane section at the end of Sector 2, but we're very weak over the rest of the lap. So there's a big kind of, offset, which we tend to lose DRS in Sector 1, which is a bit of an issue. So I hope we can manage that a bit better and then just be a bit more balanced overall. That's kind of the key thing here. So yeah, guys, we're going to get into it if you like, and prediction down below in the comments, and let's see if we can somehow finish in the points. Not ideal. Overshot my grid box. That's going to be a bit of an issue. Anyway, let's get to it. The lights are on. Oh, it's a really poor start. Got no traction on the rear. Gonna try and fight back though into turn 1 up the inside of a few cars. Let's see if we can hold on through this very tricky section. We'll fight back against Bottas and get back in front of him. So that's P15 for us, and a couple of places gained. We'll show Bottas to the outside as we head into the S section. Gonna try and make the car nice and wide and stay in front here. And now we'll see what the straight line speed is like. I'm running a bit higher wing than what I would normally have on my setup here to try and do, you know, a bit better in the weaker areas. But hopefully the straight line speed is still there, which seems to be okay, to be fair. Although I'm using a lot of battery, we've still got some pretty good VMAX, which is nice. Down to the slow section, we brushed the wall there as I have to take evasive action, somehow converting it into an overtake.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
And somehow no damage. So we're very lucky there that nothing went wrong. So another place gained, albeit with an assist from the wall, as we have to basically scrape through it to get the move done on Albon. But yeah, lap 1 in the books, and we're P14, so very good opening lap, exactly what I needed, and we've gained 3 places. We'll see now if we can try and keep up with the overall pace. We've got a couple of AlphaTauris ahead of us, which should be fine to manage. Latifi just a bit further ahead as well. So familiar territory and cars that we know we can kind of mix it up with as Sainz pits, so make that P13 and a very successful opening lap. But like I said, let's try and keep up now and see if we can stay in the DRS for next lap. One thing I've noticed, fuel is going to be an issue.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Bottas going for the move. This track is very, very fuel consumption heavy by the looks of it. That move from Bottas there, we had to give him a big old squeeze, but that has dropped us out of DRS range of Tsunoda, and I don't think we're going to get back in unless he makes a mistake. So we're going to have to try and fight back as we have a moment. Under pressure again here from Valtteri as he tries to go around the outside. We're going to close that one off, but both him and Albon are going to have DRS on me here, so we're going to have to keep the battery on to stay in front as Albon gets in front. That Williams, of course, with pretty good straight line speed always. I should be able to catch back up through here. Someone seems to be going slow up ahead as Albon looks for the move. Let's try and get within DRS and try to stay afloat here. That was a bit of a sketchy lap overall, but we're back within DRS range, which is great. Yellow flag up ahead, so we're going to gain a place. Let's see who it is. Looks like one of the front runners who are not in this train of cars, which is great. Mercedes, I think. Yep, Mercedes. And he's holding us from traffic up ahead. It's Hamilton, because Russell's ahead of us. No DRS, but there is Hamilton slowing down. Yellow flag zone. Albon opens the DRS looking for the move. We'll just basically hold this one around the outside, which gives us the inside through here. And just like that, we hold on to P now 12.
I've got some information on Hamilton for you. They're retiring from the race.
So confirmation, Lewis out. So right now, if we can just clear the AlphaTauris, we're looking at some decent points, which is encouraging. I'm trying to manage fuel and also recharge the battery, but the fuel right now is the one that I'm trying to manage. So staying in this train, I'm able to save a little bit, which we can then hopefully use a bit later on in this race. Here comes Albon. We're going to show him to the outside. I've got no DRS. So the struggle that I normally have here continues. I just don't stay close enough in the first sector, so I lose DRS on that straight. But then I can easily catch back up through here and get DRS on the second one. Right, things are changing. So at the front of this train, there was a Red Bull, and he has now broken away. So Ocon is leading the train in, I believe, P5. But the pace has dropped a bit and everyone's starting to really bunch up now, so things are going to start to open up here. So we'll see how that kind of all plays out in these final laps of this first stint, but it's definitely going to be interesting as we're all pretty tightly close together here at this stage. We'll take a warning It's okay. Track limits isn't really the biggest issue around this track, as we have a shocking exit, so that's going to put Albon on the back of us here. I wonder if I could maybe have a look at Tsunoda though. The straight line speed is good, it's competitive, so we might try and have a look. It might be worth getting on the cusp of the top 10 to then be ready to strike if points become available. I mean, we'll have to go at some point, and I know I've got the straight line speed to do it, so I will try and look for the move, especially if I get the exit out of here for once. I just struggle to get the traction down the same way that I do, but I think we might have a chance here actually, fair enough. I think I'm close enough that I can have a look at Yuki. Meanwhile, Russell looking for a move on Pierre. Yuki tries to get across, but he's too late. And we've got it. Excellent move, and he also doesn't re-challenge, so now we're ready.
We're approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hard next time.
Important to try and now make some progress. I feel like I've got a bit more pace. The AI seem to be a bit worse on worn tyres, whereas they're a bit stronger on the fresher rubber compared to me, so I think I've got the upper hand right now. Okay, it's going to start to kick off now. Feel like Ocon is causing trouble, and there is debris everywhere, as we have to take evasive action to avoid getting a puncture. Could have actually got Russell there, but trying to avoid running over an end plate was more important. But Ricciardo now with damage, so that will move us into the points. Yeah, it feels like it's kind of reaching a boiling point naturally, and we're all getting a bit too close for comfort, so things are going to start to happen. Let's stay on board here for a second to see how Ricciardo deals with the hairpin with damage. Maybe there could be a lock-up. Oh, looks like everyone gets through okay. I'm just waiting for Russell to put a move on Pierre, and then we can have a look. But there we go, Ricciardo does pit. So that will move us into the top 10, finally.
We're going to box this lap and push hard on the in-lap.
Going defensive there versus Yuki. Missed my apex a little bit, but that's okay. Good defensive driving. Let's make sure we get back within DRS range here. Or not, never mind, Russell's going to go for it. That will do us perfectly fine, as Gasly has a huge moment. Possible contact.
Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
It's not really important to me right now, Elvis, mate. Let's focus on the race. So we've got a gap to Yuki, and this is now a pit stop lap. So things are going to start to happen. I'm going to try and extend the stint a little bit. We'll see if we can get an overcut on some of these guys. I feel like the AI lose a lot of time in wheel-to-wheel combat around here, and I can actually go really fast through this section to gain some time. So we'll probably try to stretch this out a little bit longer. And there we go, Pierre pits. So we're going to have to push now to catch up to Russell. But we're going to get a nice bit of clean air to push with. More cars will pit. And now we'll get some nice, proper clean air. So this will now be our own lap. Let's see what we can do with it. Personal best on that one. Right then, we're going to box. We've gained like 2 seconds on Lando and Leclerc, who have been battling pretty heavily this lap, using all the battery here. And we're going to box for the hard tyre. These two are still battling away into the pit entry by the looks of it. I know they're going to stay out a bit longer. They're on the hard tyre, but we're going to box now. Going speed. Lovely. I think that was a really good overcut. Well worth it. Especially if the AI are in wheel-to-wheel combat battling amongst themselves. The key thing here is getting the hard tyre warmed up, which is going to be a struggle. Tyre warm up here in general is an issue. And it's a slow stop. We haven't had many of those.
Okay, the officials have deployed the safety car due to multiple cars being stopped on track. Mind your delta.
Wow.
After these tyres now, we want to finish the race on this compound.
Come on, safety car, get out of the way. I'm racing your safety car.
Okay, overtake the safety car. You may overtake the safety car.
Right then, so that worked out okay. P9 managed to gain a bit through turn 1. The safety car basically bailing me out there and making up the time loss, the difference. So P9 on a fresher tyre, and we now get a chance to basically warm it up in the safety car phase. So that's good. We won't have too much wear into it. So we'll have better rubber, and we also get a chance to save up the fuel, which I was a bit concerned about. So yeah, lovely. Also the battery gets charged, so this is great timing for a safety car. I think we can score points now. I'm feeling pretty confident, but we've just got to try and keep it clean. Now interestingly, Red Bull have stacked their cars and brought both of them in. However, Lando and Leclerc have stayed out. They haven't pit. So they're going to drop back now because of that, because they're going to have to pit later on. Alfa Romeo now bringing both of their cars to stack. So right now we're looking at a P7. And obviously once Leclerc and Lando pit, we're looking at our top 5. Because they have to stop. So how has this happened all of a sudden now? We're potentially net 5 in this race. Wow. What a crazy pit window phase. But the overcut worked out. I said I want to stay out. I think there's more of an advantage. And looks like I was right. Right, here we go. Time for the restart. We've got some great temp. Burn the rears up a lot to try and be competitive on this hard tyre. But let's get ready for the restart. There we go. We've now been released. Traction's off. Let's get to work.
Okay, clear.
Just like in the first stint, it's going to be important that we try and stay within DRS range. Now, ideally, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. I cannot believe it. Wow. Ocon's done me. Oh, God. That's unbelievable. That's our race done then. I was going to say, ideally, I want to try and pass Ocon and Schumacher, because that would have given us a net P3, and also Haas and Alpine are our rivals, but that went to crap, literally, instantly. Anyway, we'll try and get back to the pits and put a set of mediums on. Softs ain't going to really cut it around here.
Got that confirmed.
Also, I don't have any softs left, so, and if we do, I just don't think they're going to last. So we'll go for mediums and hope for maybe another safety car, but I don't think that's going to happen now at this stage. That's so annoying, it really is. Oh well, we'll just bring her in, get a set of mediums on, and forget about it. No floor damage, just missing the entire wing. Easy on the brakes here to not lock up. Albon there forgetting to make the apex. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Could have been some big points today, but got taken away. By no fault of our own. That's really annoying. Right, let's get the mediums on and hope for something to give us a bit of luck. If not, that's the end of our race pretty much. Oh, this is so long. That's what she said. Right, I'm just going to do laps, and if something happens, you'll see. Right, we're going to retire the car. No point. I'm going to get a safety car now. Also, my tyres are not fresh anymore, so they're not really making a difference, even if we were to catch. So I'm just going to call it there. Frustrating, but that's the way it goes sometimes, and definitely not our day today.
So another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. It's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
Well, there we go then, guys. A race to forget in Miami today. And yeah, really not good for the championship, because also if you look at the results, Schumacher in P5, both Alpines in the points, and Pierre Gasly and also Zhou Guanyu in the top 10 as well. So really, really not great. Verstappen wins and gets the fastest lap. Looked very, very quick all weekend. Checo makes it a 1-2 for Red Bull, Lando on the podium, Leclerc P4, and yeah, like I said, our rivals all in the top 10 as Ricciardo misses out on the points, Tsunoda P12, Sainz unable to recover, as we have also Albon, Bottas, Seb, and then we finished 2 laps down. That's the DNF, and then Stroll, Magnussen, Hamilton out of the race. So double DNF for us today. We stay 9th in the Drivers' Championship, but Ocon, Schumacher, Latifi all getting a bunch of points. Verstappen comfortable up front with a 20.8 gap. In the Constructors, we're down to 6th. Alpine re-overtake us and move a point ahead. So yeah, what could have been potentially a podium P3 today. Yeah, went away from us, so that's a real shame. Although I'll say that, if we look at the results, Leclerc and Norris finished in the top 4, so they must have stopped really early or something, or maybe started on softs, I don't know, but yeah, they finished where they weren't, they didn't have to stop again, so I must have been wrong about that. So the best we could have done was probably a P5 in fairness, so even still, there would have been a great result had we pulled that off. But hey guys, that is going to be it from me here today for today's episode. Leave a like and subscribe, and we'll be back again in the next one, looking to fight back, bounce back, and try to get back in them points, because we're throwing the points away. Well, I say throwing, I'm not doing much about it, but we're getting unlucky. So we've got to try and cash in these points finishes to make progress. So yeah guys, as always, a big shout out to the members. Check out the 2 videos on screen, and I'll see you in the next one, which I think is Spain. So yeah, until then guys, take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.